Alright, what's up, boys? Welcome back to the channel. Got a banger for y'all cooked up today. Today we're going to be talking about the time that French Eddie Murphy and Lil Xan tried to get me to go skiing, okay? Now, this happened about... Damn, this was a while ago now. So this was like like winter 2020. So like, this is like peak pandemic and shit, pre-vaccine. Everyone's still kind of tweaking about COVID, a lot of people were going through some pretty rough times at this point, but not me. I was big chilling. I mean, and that's cap. I was going through it. We all were. But anyway, during this era, I was actually staying in Junction City, which is like a boring ass town near a military base. And really, the only reason why I was out there is because of my dad. So that gives y'all a little background on why I'm in the middle of a bum-ass state like Kansas. No offense to any of y'all who are from Kansas, but it kind of gets a rep like Ohio. Nobody's fucking with Kansas. Nobody's fucking with Ohio. They just don't get no love because there ain't shit to do. So anyway, I got a job at a restaurant, and I became pretty good friends with a dude. We're gonna call, for the sake of the video, we're gonna call him Greg. Now me and Greg were boys, but a lot of times when we would hang out, there wasn't really much to do, and Greg didn't have a car, so every time it was just us driving around in my car. And if you ever had a homie like that, you never really tend to do much with people like that. And no offense, but you're not gonna really hang out with them as much. It's not necessarily the whole car thing, but it's just like, bro, I can't entertain your ass, all the time. It's not really my job. And sometimes you got to bring some moves yourself. I'm not Netflix, bro. Like, you can't just cue me up on your phone and fucking look at me for some entertainment for and make your day brighter. Like, hell nah, bro. We got to bounce off each other. So anyway, Nate wasn't all bad, because sometimes he would come through with some moves. So his move on this fine day was to go hang out with the girl he had been trying to get with, and he had been doing a little bit of stuff with. And for the sake of her, she was kind of a cunt. What are we gonna call her? We're gonna call her Jessica, because my dad had an ex-wife called Jessica, and I feel like that's just a bitch name, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to call her Jessica. So anyway, Jessica tells us to slide through to this party. Now, this party's about like 40 minutes away, so it's over in this place called Manhattan. It's pretty close to Junction City and Fort Riley. And if you've ever been there, most colleges tend to get a little wild, a little rowdy. Some girls be getting hit with the Bill Cosby method. It's evil. That's why we have things like police and stuff to take care of people like that. But college is a big area where shit like that goes down. Bitches start getting hit with the Bill Cosby method a lot. So if you can imagine, a big college town right next to a military base with lingering high schoolers like myself such at the time, you can imagine what kind of shit was going down at a lot of these parties. But anyway, that's besides the point. A lot of messed up stuff. But anyway, so they tell us to slide to this frat house, I think it was. Or it was somebody's apartment or something. But it was jumping. It was a K-State party. And like when we got to the door, no one knew who the hell we are. And there's like 90 people at this fucking party, like crammed into this 3-bedroom apartment. And pretty much everybody's just chilling in the living room area and shit. So anyway, we knock in there, and then right off the gate, I end up meeting like this they/them. They got the little Z pronouns and shit. Don't want to really offend anybody, but it was just one of those things. And I'm always careful around them because they're really easy to offend, I feel like. But the crazy thing about this, I guess, what are we gonna call it? We're gonna call it Lil Xan, okay? Because Lil Xan looked just like Lil Xan. Not only did this bitch look just like Lil Xan, like damn near to the point with the same face tattoos and shit, like a little different, but in the same like placements and stuff. This bitch was playing, and her pussy tastes like Skittles. Like, she was playing that shit at the party. So, I guess this was just a professional Lil Xan dick rider. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. But, it was also a they/them. And I get pretty early into the function. So, Lil Xan was Xanning out, barred out, big time. Like finna pass out type shit. So, we all go out on the deck and stuff. We get shit to chillin'. And then this is where things start to get, like, a little crazy when we start to go back into the party, right? So I meet this one dude. I know there's a lot of celebrities making cameos in this video, but it's just because I don't know any of these people's names. So we're basically just going by their lookalikes and shit. So this dude looked just like P. Diddy, but like a younger P. Diddy, like a prime P. Diddy, right? So anyway, he doesn't really know much of me. I get introduced through Jessica and stuff, and I'm not even really sure they know each other because there seems to be a pretty big age gap between the two. So I don't really know why they would know each other. But anyway, they introduced me, and pretty soon into our conversation, this guy does like a little like gesture to like his mouth and his nose. I thought he was asking me if I wanted to blow down. So I was like, yeah, bro, I'm down. But little did I know he was trying to offer me some precious nose clamps. Now, I'm not really fucking with that because I mean, I've never really done that shit, and also this is Kansas. Like, God knows what kinds of Flintstone vitamins and laxatives are in that shit. Like I'm just gonna have to pass on that. I'm not really trying to go for it and everything. Like I'd rather just chill. And plus I gotta drive and shit anyway. I don't want to be off yo meth pack. Like I'm straight on that. So anyway, I end up going back outside, and this is when Donkey from Shrek decides to crash the party. But the real curveball about this guy is that he wasn't just a Eddie Murphy lookalike. He was also from France. But this guy, like, textbook looked just like Eddie Murphy. Like even more than the girl looked like Lil Xan and the dude looked like P Diddy. Like way more. He looked just like Eddie Murphy, exactly like him and shit. Like and Raw, and Eddie, you've probably seen some classic Eddie Murphy movies, so you know what Eddie Murphy be up to. So anyway, Eddie Murphy come outside with a handle of Tito's, and the first thing he says, he's like, "I do not do cocaine," and this was a promise that he was gonna very shortly break, because then he shortly busted out a bag of nose clams and tried to get everyone to go skiing, including me. So I've been at this party for maybe 45 minutes, and I've already had to turn down coke from people like fucking 3 times. So, I'm really trying to get to going at this point. But anyway, of course it's not going to end there, because why would it? It wouldn't be a banger if it ended there, because shit started to get a little crazy. So anyway, Jessica start doing some nose clams, and she starts to get a little wild. And I've heard things about when people mix liquor and precious nose clams that like it kind of counteracts itself, or it's kind of counterproductive, like they kind of cancel each other out. I mean, I've heard that from professional. I don't really know how true that is, because again, I'm not a connoisseur of nose clams, despite these people's best efforts to try to get me to change my mind and persuade me. Anyways, I wasn't going for it. So after she does some nose clamps and stuff, Eddie Murphy was like telling her to get on her knees so he can like pour a shot into her mouth. And this girl was 18, but she was still in school. And French Eddie Murphy, like he wasn't like a 90s comedian Eddie Murphy. He was more like like a Shrek 3 older voice actor Eddie Murphy. Like he definitely was too old to be doing this shit with this bitch. But on paper, I guess it was legal. It wasn't on that EDP 445 shit. More like that Boogie 29988 shit. I kind of just like right on the line. So anyway, he gets on her knees and stuff, and he starts pouring like some liquor into her mouth out of the Tito's bottle, right? And while she's down there and stuff, he kind of like he grabs his meat and stuff through his pants, and he starts rubbing it like on her face. And this pisses Jessica off. She's not going for it, because she was really just trying to get some nose clamps from this guy. She never really wanted all the extra, and didn't really want to get assaulted and stuff, right? So she wasn't fucking with it. So she gets up, slaps the shit out of Eddie Murphy. And Lil Xan and Jessica are friends, so Lil Xan, they slash them. Now she's trying to get involved, and she's trying to fight Eddie Murphy. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really fucking with like Eddie Murphy's approach. It was a little fucked up, but at the same time, I don't really know none of these people, and I'm not a hero. I'm not here to save Lil Xan and Jessica. It's not my job. We're all the same age. I don't know anybody at this party. I'm not here to make any foes. There are real hitters at this party that are blowing down. Who fucking knows? One thing I know is that you don't want to piss people off who are cokeheads, because they tend to take shit a little personally. So I tell my boy that we gotta go ahead and get shit bracking and start to head out of the party. But that's not before shit starts to get even a little more wild on the way out, because of course it can't just end right there, or it wouldn't be a banger. So anyway, we're trying to leave the party and stuff. We're trying to get out of the function, because between Eddie Murphy, essaying people, Lil Xan, just controlling the aux, I'd had enough, and all the people lined up to go to the bathroom to do dirty stuff. I'd had enough of this party. So anyway, like in every Hollywood movie, the cops obviously pull up, because there's like 90 people in this little ass apartment making a shit ton of noise. I mean, it was like an apartment. It seemed like a frat house, but this was in like a complex type shit. Like it had people very clearly around walking that saw people on the balcony, and all the yelling and all the screaming and probably all the cocaine talk. So people of course were calling in the heavies. They were Jim Leahy and that shit. They were calling in the heavies. Damn, hold on, I got this one guy left. So anyway, we ended up having to hide, and I ended up just being like, fuck this, I know I'm not gonna get in trouble, but I'm too young to fucking be here type shit. And I was a little fried, and I wasn't really supposed to. So I decided that it was time to blast. So we find a little way to kind of like hide in the bathroom, and kind of drop off this ledge, because luckily this dude, like, he had a balcony and shit, but he was also like not that high up off the ground, like maybe like 10 feet tops. So we kind of just said fuck it and let our kneecaps take the damage, and we ended up getting out to the Jeep Compass and doing the Junction City Dash. So that was about it for the time that French Eddie Murphy and Lil Xan tried to get me to go skiing. It was definitely a memorable experience, and part of me thinks about, what if I did go skiing with them and I through the Appalachian Mountains? Like, how would I feel about that? And I mean, I'm glad I didn't. I'm try to stay a man of my principles, and you really shouldn't do shit like that. You should know when to have fun, but you should also know when to say no. Just say no, kids. But don't say no to French Eddie Murphy, because if he wants something, what French Eddie Murphy wants, French Eddie Murphy gets, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, that's going to be it for this video, boys. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Get ready for some more gameplays and probably some more stories.